this afternoon, local organizations are now reacting to new data released by the New York City Health Department when it comes to the monkeypox vaccine and how accessible it is across the city. News 12 reporter Katie Lusso joins us from studio to explain. Katie.
Yeah, Christy, the New York City Health Department says they are taking steps right now to curb what they're calling inequities when it comes to getting the monkeypox vaccine out across the city. Well, this newly released data, it shows a breakdown of who has been given the vaccine, and they say the results are concerning. Well, this afternoon, one local organization leader says it's concerning, but also not surprising.
It was not that surprising.
Elisa Crespo is the executive director of the New Pride Agenda, an LGBTQ statewide education and advocacy nonprofit.
Submit a letter to the mayor and the governor asking them to release this vaccination data because we suspected that there were going to be inequities.
Now that data released, it shows that just over 23% of vaccines have been administered to Hispanic or Latino New Yorkers, who make up 16% of the population that may be eligible. The Asian and Pacific Islander community received more than 10% of the doses and make up 7% of the eligible population. But the Black community, the City Health Department says, only received 12% of the doses, while making up 31% of those eligible. Looking at the boroughs in the Bronx, 5% of doses have been administered despite 10% of the borough being eligible. In Brooklyn, 28.5% of doses have been given out, even though only 23% based on their survey are eligible. Crespo says the numbers are concerning.
Really upsetting that we haven't learned anything from the past 2+ years. It seems like we're always being reactionary instead of proactive. It's frustrating sometimes when we're not seeing the sense of urgency.
So what is the city doing about it? Well, they say they're adding additional mobile vaccine clinics and awarding $5 million to 28 community-based organizations across all 5 boroughs. They say they'll also be amping up both in-person and online outreach.
We're hopeful. I think the city really has to continue, as they've begun to work with credible messengers and community-based organizations.
For those of you wondering where these numbers are coming from, well, the New York City Health Department says they're based off of vaccination records from the Health Department, New York City Health and Hospitals, and affiliated vendors. As for the numbers they released about the eligible population, well, those are based off of estimates from the Health Department's annual community health survey, which, according to the city's website, is a telephone survey with an annual sample of about 10,000 randomly selected adults. I'm Katie Lusso. Back to you, Christy.